call the meeting to order. Honorable members, and also the PS, the defense, and the officials from all the teams. The teams from MDF, from the police service, from the NIS, and also from the stakeholders in the mining sector. I believe we also have got those around here. So let me welcome you to this meeting. This meeting I will chair today. So let me welcome you to this meeting, honor members and also the officials. This meeting has been called as an audience for the Committee on Natural Resources to be briefed on the progress made by the task force done by the government on the issues of illegal mining. And so that would be the major issue that we'll be discussing this morning. Before we go straight into that, let us have some introductions, and we are going to start with the so that we will each other.
Good morning, Chair. Through you, Chair. My name is Emmanuel Mawendo of the Champion constituency.
I'm Dr. Gabriel Usman. Through you, Chair. My name is Togozi Lunji, representing the people of Malawi.
Good morning, Chair.
Representing the people of Machida Central East. Thank you.
Good morning. Through you, Honorable Chairperson. My name is Sipiwe Komwa, Parliament Secretariat.
Good morning.
Through you, Honorable
Honorable Chair, the representation of Honorable Chair, the representation of MAMICO, I was supposed to be at that high level, but there are also other issues on the same things. There was an urgent issue with Treasury, so the CEO of MAMICO is working on some of the issues which were raised. So my apology through you, Chair, but otherwise I'm here, we are here with the whole aim of providing the details to you, Chair. On the regulating authority, I think we also extended the invitation as part of this group, but I'm yet to be told as to what has happened. So thank you, Chair. Otherwise, we have that high degree of compliance to your requirements, Chair.
Yes.
Is it in order that we should continue engaging some of the stakeholders when the director has been absconding to face the parliamentary committee? Like Dr. Kaindakafe has never met the parliamentary committee on natural resources. So this is not the first time. And honestly, this is not true. We have to make sure that he comes to the committee and he faces questions. Thank you so much.
Honorable, that point is taken, but in this case, we should not confuse our issues with the MAMICO Director General, because these are now, this team is specifically on the joint force on the illegal mining. So that issue, now because the PSC is here of mining, I think you have to summon him so that we should know what is his team doing. Because this committee feels your team, MAMICO and the MLRA is sleeping, but that's another issue for another day. Today, we should talk about the progress of the task force. So on our PS defense now, I hope you have got the presentation. Please present it, and then after that, members of parliament will ask questions and make comment. Thank you, Honorable members.
Thank you, Chair and the honorable members. Just a quick background on the joint task force. Chair, you will appreciate that this joint task force included the following institutions: the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Homeland Security, the Ministry of Mining, Ministry of Natural Resources and Climate Change, Ministry of Local Government, as well as the National Intelligence Service. You will also appreciate, Chair, that I think the issue basically was to this operation in our terms, it was terms Operation Samarangodi, meaning we would want to preserve the natural resources of the country and ensure that they're profitable and used as per the country's requirements. So just to if you're in Indigenous Chair, I will ask my task force commander to do a presentation that to you and the whole members of the whole process, how it went, and the findings, as well as the reports, and as well as the way forward, the proposed way forward. Suffice to say that, Chair, as the Minister of Defense, we are the ones that are heading the steering committee, and we have got as well other tasks to do with your indigenous when you consider what we are going to be able to present. Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson, and honorable members of Parliament, Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources, Energy and Climate Change. Thank you for summoning the Joint Task Force on illegal mining and smuggling. We appear before you today not to celebrate, but to account. As recorded in your brief, Operation Samarangodi originates from the Executive Order of 21 October 2025, which identified illegal mining and mineral smuggling as threats to our national security and economic sovereignty. The Cabinet's Interministerial Committee subsequently directed a whole government response, and on 10 January 2026, the steering committee appointed this joint task force as the operational arm of the national strategy. Honorable members, you have summoned us to appraise you on the progress of the pilot phase. The phase was never intended to be decisive. It was designed to be diagnostic. Over the next several minutes, with your permission, my Chief of Staff and the J3 or Operations Officer will walk you through the details. But permit me to preview our findings in 3 sentences. Number 1, we have validated the Joint Task Force on Illegal Mining and Smuggling construct. It works for resource protection and sovereignty enforcement. Second, we have apprehended over 400 individuals, seized 17.4 metric tons of garena and 32 grams of gold, and neutralized 7 primary hotspots. Third, this is why your oversight is critical. The pilot phase has also exposed construction or structural friction points, intelligence gaps, operational security risks, interagency radio incompatibility, complicity among some traditional authorities, and capacity issues in the Department of Mines. We do not bring you problems without suggesting solutions. Our recommendations are embedded in the slides, but first you deserve the unvarnished operational picture. Chairperson, I now invite your attention to the briefing. Chief of Staff.
Thank you, sir. With your permission, Chair, the honorable members of the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources, Energy and Climate Change, and all present. In the next 15 minutes, as alluded by the Joint Task Force Commander, I and the Operations Officer of the Joint Task Force, we will continue presenting about the Operation Samarangodi. This operation was executed from the 30th March to 13th April this year, and the aim of my presentation is to appraise you, the Honorable Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources, Energy and Climate Change, on the progress of the operation and provide an update on the current status of illegal mining activities across the country. To do justice to my presentation, I'll start with a background. Operation Samarangodi originated from an executive order from the President of Malawi, dated on 21st October 2025. The order recognized illegal mining and mineral smuggling as significant threats to the national security and the country's economic interests, that prohibits the export of raw and processed minerals to protect national wealth and encourage value addition. This was also mandated by a whole of government response to reassert state control over mineral resources and mining areas. This executive order is the legal and policy basis for all subsequent Joint Task Force actions. To implement the executive order, the Cabinet established an interministerial committee in November 2025. The committee was tasked with the implementation of the directive through a national action plan that balances law enforcement, economic growth, and community welfare. It recommended a coordinated sectoral approach, including the establishment of a steering committee for strategic oversight and a joint task force for operational execution. Further, the steering committee was constituted on 15th December 2025. The committee serves as the primary civil military decision-making body responsible for coordinating and directing the national response. On 10th January 2026, the steering committee directed the establishment of the joint task force on illegal mining and smuggling as the operational arm of the national strategy. Major General LDG Piri was appointed the joint task force commander, who is deputized by the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Don Chionda, and the structure, the organogram of this task force is as displayed on the slide, starting with the joint task force as commander, deputized by Mr. Chionda. We have myself as chief of staff, deputized by Mr. Chisoti from police, and then we've got the J staff. The J staff is starting from military police representative, J2, that is intelligence from NIS, the J3 is from MDF operations, the J4 is from Malawi Police Service, and then the J5 is from the mining, J6 is from the police, and then the J9 is from DIX. Preparation and planning. The planning cell was established, whereby the Joint Task Force staff formed a planning cell at Kamus Barracks in February 2026 to translate the steering committee's directives into action. The interagency planning conference was conducted, whereby all stakeholders conducted a series of meetings at the barracks to promote a common intelligence picture. 7 priority sites were selected within Malawi, and our intelligence identified key targets as Lilongwe, Dowa, Kasungu, Zimba as hotspots. That assessment concluded and identified 3 tiers. The first tier, based on our assessment, was that there are foreign finances with transnational linkages trying to undermine the mining sector. Tier 2 are the middlemen buyers. These are Malawian and foreign nationals. Then the third tier are the local rebels operating under economic duress. There are also associate threats, whereby we discovered that there is environmental degradation, chemical contamination, whereby existing was at Kapago River as one example, and the general smuggling across porous borders outside Malawi. Indicated on the slide are the institutions that are involved. First is the defense and security, whereby we have the MDF that committed the 94 and 101 Brigade, and also 2 of its battalions, the engineers and then the parachute battalion. From the Malawi Police Service, they committed Central East, Central West, and then the Northern Police. We also involved the National Intelligence Service and then Malawi Prison Service. On civilian and the regulatory authorities, we have the Department of Mines, Environmental Affairs Department, Department of Immigration and Citizenship Services, National Water Reserve Agency, and then we were also supported by the governance and the legal sector, whereby the involvement of local government authorities, traditional authorities and group village headmen, Directorate of Public Prosecution, and the district commissioners were also stakeholders. On conduct, I now transfer to the operations officer.
Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Chair, allow me to take you through the conduct of operation. The operation was unfolded in 3 phases. The phase 1 was shaping. This phase took place from 30 March to 6 April. We conducted information operations. Some of the activities involved in information operations, you recall that prior to our deployment, we made a press release. The press release was meant to forewarn the illegal miners about the imminent operation which we carried out. So we made sure that all media platforms, the information is available. Again, during the shaping phase, we also activated our intelligence cell to go and confirm all the hotspots as provided by our colleagues from mining. Again, in the shaping operations, we learned that the hotspots that were identified were from Lilongwe, Kasungu, and Nzimba. Phase 2 was decisive action. This phase commenced from 5 up to 13th April. Prior to our deployment, since all our operations were intelligence-led, we received intelligence that in reaction to the press release, there was an intended smuggling of galena stones in Doha. Initially, Doha was not on our agenda, but due to this information, we acted upon this. We activated our quick reaction force to go and interdict. So we interdicted and confiscated 17.4 tons of galena stones. You might wish to know that galena stones, these are precious stones. It is used to make explosives such as ammunition and the other stuff. After the decisive action, we transited to stabilization phase. The stabilization phase ran from 8 to 13th April. We conducted mobile patrols and carried out key leader engagements. We thought it was necessary to do so after conducting the operation. It was good to engage the key leaders as well as the normal laborers of the community. The operation outcomes. On apprehension, over 400 individuals were picked up. After screening, 138 were formally detained, including 2 Chinese nationals. These 2 Chinese nationals were linked to issues pertaining to galena mining. We also detained 10 Mozambicans. This confirms the transnational reach. On seizures, we confiscated 17.4 metric tons of galena stones, 32 grams of gold, 1 excavator, and multiple pumps and generators. Number of sites that we cleared 7 primary hotspots, and 6 of these 7, we experienced 0 resumption of illegal mining that time. Even though this time we have intelligence that these illegal miners started returning to the same sites that we cleared. The site that we experienced the return of illegal miners immediately after our withdrawal was in Nzimba. We had in our operation order, we had the key performance indicators. For disruption of illicit activity, the target was 7 hotspots. We neutralized all 7 hotspots with 0 resumption in 6 hotspots. As I've already alluded to, Nzimba was the only area that experienced the return of illegal miners immediately after our withdrawal. For apprehension of actors, the target was financiers and buyers. We detained multiple illegal miners and the buyers. For community cooperation, the target was 0 civil unrest. We had 0 protest, and after our action, we managed to brief over 340 personnel on how they can move forward in order to be recognized in this industry. For the restoration of rule of law, after our action, the plan was that during the stabilization phase, we hand over everything to Malawi Police Service as well as to Ministry of Mining so that they should carry on with their normal activities. So this happened, and the handover was done on 10 April. Unfortunately, our intention was not fully achieved due to logistical constraints. For environmental evidence, during our operation, we discovered that some of these illegal miners also contaminated the nearby river in Kasungu. So for environmental evidence, we engaged our colleagues from MEPA as well as Water Regulatory. We visited the site where the colleagues collected samples from the Napako River. We are just waiting for feedback on the results to see if really the river was contaminated. But the report that we got is that even the birds and goats were reported dead immediately after consuming water passing through that river. And on the Operation Agility, the Joint Task Force was really agile. As I've already said that the issue of Lower Garena Stone was not on our agenda, but the reaction that the Joint Task Force shown was a true reflection that the Joint Task Force was really operational, agile. On the community engagement, after the decisive action, our target was to make sure that these people, the laborers, we should not just leave them as such, but at least they should be sensitized the right way of doing the mining. We managed to activate one of our cells, what we call the community engagement cell. We released them, we activated them, and they managed to sensitize all locals in all 7 sites that we cleared. We witnessed the formulation of cooperatives after we engaged our engagement cell. On the environmental findings, that was on 12 April, when the joint environmental team, as well as National Water Regulatory Authority, conducted an assessment at one of the illegal miner by the name Mr. Jere in Kasungu. They documented the death of birds and goats from contaminated tributary. And there was a sign of use of mercury as well as cyanide. The samples were collected, and as I've already alluded to, that we are still waiting for the results to make sure that this so-called Mr. Jerez should be accountable. Challenges that we faced during the operation. On the intelligence, we We had limited reconnaissance time left for the key priority intelligence requirements that was unanswered. Most of our arrests were low-level operators, not the financiers. This should not worry us or say that maybe Joint Task Force did not do the right job. The approach was deliberate because we started with the press release to forewarn people, so this is what we anticipated. On the operation security, we experienced operational leaks that compromised security. The site boundaries on the ground extended beyond Department of Mines coordinates, which meant we were operating with incomplete mapping. What was happening was that we were given the coordinates that this is the area where illegal mining is taking place. But upon reaching the site, we could discover more and more. So this also, it was not on our budget, but because we are already on the site, we could not leave them untouched. On the finance, we had no contingency fund. When the scope expanded, the budget was not revised. On logistics, the time we were doing our planning and the time we were waiting for the budget to be approved, that was the same time also the fuel prices were revised upwards. So the fuel volatility reduced our mobility. We had no organic heavy lift capability. During the operation, we confiscated a lot of equipment, including one excavator, but we could not do anything with excavator because of this shortfall of heavy lift capability. Again, we also experienced, like we briefed, that we detained over 400 personnel. We had a challenge with the detention facilities. They were not enough. So we had to release others and remain with those who were considered as serious offenders. On the communications, since this is a joint task force involving different institutions, we experienced MDF and MPS radio incompatibility issues. We use different type of radios for communication, so we could not, they were not compatible, so the communications was hampered. Instead, we were forced to use unsecured commercial devices, which is a security risk. On community, there was a geographical displacement that occurred, and the economic dependence caused hostility, and this happened in Doha when our quick reaction force raided the Galena site. The illegal miners started pelting stones on our troops. We still continue with the challenges on the shortage of personnel and the, now we are dealing with the Department of Mines capacity. We identified the lack of capacity in many ways. There is shortage of personnel and no district level structures within the mining sector. The Department of Mines has no office near most active mining sites. This leaves sites vulnerable to unregulated activity. During phase 2, which is the decisive action, we also had challenges because we wanted that each and every site we should have technical personnel from mining sector. But this did not happen in all sites due to shortage of personnel within the mining department. As such, security forces were forced to make technical determinations beyond our mandate. On the confiscated items, there is a critical regulatory gap regarding disposal of seized items. There are no defined time limits for how long materials or equipment can be held before disposal. This ambiguity creates prolonged holding periods, and the prolonged holding attracts corrupt practices among custodians. Another challenge was on licensing status ambiguity. The operation teams could not distinguish in real time between 4 categories. There is valid license, applied license, expired license, or renewal pending license. This had a direct intelligence impact because our intelligence cell couldn't reliably code targets as illegal, which reduced precision in targeting and the rules of engagement. It caused community friction when minors claimed legal or pending status, which undermined the legitimacy of enforcement. There is also legal risk attached to that. Prosecutions are vulnerable if a court determines an operator was unlawful, having holding applied or renewal status. Chair, as the way forward, the Joint Task Force is requesting or is recommending that on the issue of communications, which we experienced during the operation, we request that your committee approve the procurement of 50 encrypted crossband radios, just solely for our use as Joint Task Force. On the finance, we also appeal to this committee that the committee should expedite the approval of the full-scale rollout budget. On the issue of community turning against the Joint Task Force, we recommend that the approval of a formal quarterly briefing mechanism for traditional authorities and establish a confidential reporting channel for community members. We've seen that even some key leaders, they are also implicated in this illegal practice. Maybe this is due to lack of regular engagements with the key leaders. So our appeal is that we should conduct regular key leader engagements. The model has already alluded to in the opening remarks by the Joint Task Force Commander that the model has been validated. The Joint Task Force on Illegal Mining and the smuggling construct is effective for resource protection and sovereignty enforcement. On the environmental imperative, our stand is that ecological crime must be integrated into all future operations. Let me now draw your attention to some of the pictures that was captured during the operation. Mostly the pictures that were confiscated were the pumps, generators, and the other stuff. Chair, this is the Galena stones that was confiscated in Doha. And this photograph of Galena stones that was confiscated in Doha, there was 17.4 metric tons that was confiscated. Chair, this is enough to fill almost this room. Each stone represents lost revenue for the nation and a violation of our sovereignty. These are some of the items that were confiscated. And again, Chair, I draw your attention to this. This image shows an improvised artisanal gold filtering pond. Look closely, you can see the makeshift liners, the primitive sluices, but also note the proximity to water sources. This is where mercury and cyanide enter our rivers. These are artisanal gold mining pits, hand-dug, dangerous, and unregulated. No safety measures, no environmental controls, just raw extraction. The men and women working in these pits are not the criminals. They are the most vulnerable. The criminals are the financiers and the middlemen. Now, the question is, where do we stand as Joint Task Force? The Joint Task Force is postured to roll out a full-scale national operation. Our budget for that expansion is submitted and pending approval. We continue intelligence collection and are planning intelligence-led national rollout operations. We are ready to move from proof of concept to operational reality, but cannot do it without the commitment of this committee. Chair, reaching this far, allow me to hand over the podium back to the Joint Task Force Commander for the closing remarks. Thank you, sir.
Chair, allow me to conclude this presentation in this manner. The pilot phase has proven one thing beyond doubt. The Joint Task Force on illegal mining and smuggling model is effective. When we are resourced and coordinated, we can neutralize hotspots, seize assets, and reassert state control. The 138 detained individuals, including 2 Chinese and 10 Mozambican nationals, confirm the transnational nature of this threat. However, the same pilot phase has revealed that operational success without regulatory follow-through is incomplete. Specifically, we face 4 gaps that only this committee can help to close. Number 1, licensing ambiguity. There is significant ambiguity concerning the mining license status. It is deeply confusing that the regulatory authority continues to treat individuals in possession of expired licenses as illegal miners. This practice undermines the rule of law and it creates an even playing field for compliant operators. To me, I'll give an example. All of us here, if I'm not mistaken, we are drivers. We drive our vehicles. And for you to drive a vehicle, you are supposed to have a license. And if your license has expired, you find the traffic police on the road, you present that one, they will tell you don't have a license. So I don't understand personally why somebody has got an expired license but continues to do the mining. To me, this one, it needs to be corrected by the Parliamentary committee. That one was just an example. Secondly, the absence of clear regulations governing confiscated items. The lack of defined time limits for holding seized materials or equipment before disposal creates a high-risk environment. Prolonged holding periods not only delay justice, but also open the door to corrupt practices among custodians. Thirdly, there is a severe shortage of personnel in the mining sector. This one, it was so evident during, our operations. This leaves, mining sites highly vulnerable to unregulated activity and safety breaches. This vulnerability is exacerbated by the fact that the mining department has no clear structural presence at the district level and often no office located near or in reasonable proximity to active mining sites. Fourthly, community complicity and governance gaps. The pilot phase has uncovered troubling evidence of community complicity and governance failures that directly undermine enforcement efforts. These gaps are further exacerbated by the absence of consistent engagement with key local leaders, resulting in community pushback and the ongoing shielding of illegal miners by the very individuals charged with governing the grassroots level. Honorable members, our way forward is clear. The Joint Task Force is postured to roll out in full-scale operation. Our budget is pending approval. We continue intelligence collection and intelligence-led operations, but we cannot scale the pilot into permanence without 3 specific parliamentary actions. Based on the above concerns, we recommend the following actions. For licensing ambiguity, the regulatory authority must issue a binding public directive clarifying the exact status of expired licenses, including any grace periods, conditional extensions, or automatic forfeiture rules. No person with an expired license should be treated as a legal miner unless they have formally applied for and received a written interim authorization pending renewal. For confiscated items, we recommend a draft and enact clear regulation that establish mandatory publicly disclosed time limits for holding confiscated items, e.g. a maximum of 30 days for perishable goods and 90 days for non-perishable items. Custodians must log all holdings in a tamper-proof digital registry with automatic disposal procedures triggered when the time limit expires, reducing opportunities for corruption. For personal shortages and district-level gaps, the mining department should immediately establish district-level mining desks or mobile inspection units in high activity regions. Even if small, a phased staffing plan should be implemented, prioritizing the recruitment of local inspectors and support staff to ensure a visible, responsive presence near mining sites. Chairperson, the pilot phase has taught us where we are strong and where we are fragile. With this committee's support, we are ready to move from proof of concept to operational reality. Thank you very much for listening to our presentation. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Commander, for the task force. PS, if there is some additional information, let me do that first before members start taking comments and asking questions.
Chair, from the defense point of view, as a steering committee chair, I think we are okay, but I'm so sure my colleague from PS Mining will have a few comments to make. Thank you.
Mining.
Thank you, Chair, and your committee. I think I should, through you, commend the task force for revealing some of the critical issues. which without having the control measures of those, I think we are not to benefit from the sector fully. I wanted to recognize the fact that I think the committee or the task force has hinted on, for example, the shortage of staff in the ministry, particularly in the Department of Mines, and of course, even at the district level. Yes, I agree with the reporting that we have had some difficulties, not only in the Department of Mines, but I think even in other areas, we are having some problems. But since I came, tried to push through to make sure that the filling of some of the positions should be done. On the verification of the licenses in the hotspots, it was really a gap, but on our side, I think it was mainly on the use of the cadastral data system, which as of now, because of this report, we have started reviewing and maintaining the data system to make sure that anytime we want to have the details in terms of what the stage of the license and other things, we should find exact stage and enhance the monitoring and evaluation of the system. Because if, for example, we are not sure of whether it's legal or illegal as the task force is reporting, it means we have also had some lapses on the monitoring part of it to see who is doing what and under what legal requirements, Chair. So those are the things which, as a ministry, we are also tackling as of now. I also wanted to mention that I think on community mobilization, it is unfortunate that at one point during the task force visitation, the communities were not in the process of forming the cooperatives, because we think through cooperatives there is to be an ownership of the resources in the communities, and they cannot allow maybe an external guy to come and enjoy the benefits of those resources. So, as reported by the task force, we are also mobilizing communities to form cooperatives in the areas, and we are working together with Ministry of Trade and other related authorities on that particular front. So what I would like to say is, yes, we are making some progress. Maybe before I make this, even at local level, we are in connection with Minister of Local Government. In fact, I'm seeing the PS on Monday on the same things to make sure that at local level, we do have also a desk representing the Department of Mines. So, Chair, I think we have learned a lot, and there are really pertinent lessons on our ministry, and we need to move fast if we are to benefit from this intervention in terms of recommendations, implementations, and other things. Chair, let me stop there. Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable PS Mining. Honorable members, I think we have heard from the presentation, both from the two PSs, but also from the task force leadership on the process, the results, and also on the way forward. I will start now taking questions and comments. But the PS Mining, I think now you have heard from the results that I said earlier that your agents in the ministry are sleeping. Both the Mining and Minerals Regulatory Authority, and the MAMICO, they're sleeping. because the issue of the expired licenses, it's a long, long issue that your minister has been talking. The issue of the cooperatives. Anyway, I should not exhaust some of the questions. Let me ask members. But I think because you are here, this time you have come, I think we have got an issue with your ministry to discuss. So, honourable members, now we have heard the presentation from the officials. So let us now have comments and questions. Can I start with Desampuzi? Desampuzi, one. Then Mzimba North. Then Nkwadagora Liwaladzi. Did I say another hand there? Okay. So in that order, we'll start with Desampuzi.
Thank you very much.
Then before that, after Desampuzi, come to Lilongwe Ngwenya. Now we'll see a hand. Then Mzimba North, and then Nkwadagora Liwaladzi. In that order.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair, for this opportunity. I would like to have a clarification. In the radio, we heard the reports that the Reserve Bank has purchased almost 350 kgs of gold. So I would like you to clarify whether the individuals or companies selling this gold to the Reserve Bank have valid mining and trading licenses. Are they the same illegal miners, or they are offered the same invalid licenses which were expired? This way I would like to know. Another question, in their presentation, I haven't heard them mentioning about Namizimu Forest, but Namizimu Forest is still in Malawi, in Mangochi, where illegal mining is also taking place. So I would like to know if the operation were meant for the intended places, not the all of Malawi where illegal mining is taking place. Thank you.
Lilongwe Ngwenya.
Thank you, Chair. That's in Zimba North, yeah. Thank you, Chair. First of all, let me commend the task force for a wonderful job that you're doing. This is a battle that cannot be won by one person. So putting hands together is the way to go. My question is on the presentation that was made on the culprits of illegal mining. In the presentation, you said you deliberately targeted low-level operators that you arrested. And the question is why only low-level operators and not the financials themselves? And from those that you arrested and those that are detained, have you managed to get information on who are those that are financing these low-level operators? Do you have any information? Because all we've seen is that you've arrested low-level operators. You've left the big fish out there. So it means the problem is still there. We all know. What's the way forward? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And I also would like to join my colleague on the excellent initial operations that you've conducted throughout the country, aimed at trying to secure the resources of this country. Firstly, I just want to be clear, is this an ad hoc operation or it is an ongoing operation? And I think to latch on to the issue that has been raised by my colleague, someone said the other day that the whole of Malawi is almost like a mining site. And there's a lot of hotspots in this country. And I'm just wondering why you've just concentrated on this one. Is it because of lack of resources or the limitations of your mandate? Because we know of areas, like he said, Namizimu, there's areas in Mwanza, Neno, Balaka, where there is gold, and people are actively working on those ones. The second one is on this mineral, the stones called galena. First time I get to hear of them, but if indeed we have these stones and there's great demand for these stones, this question now goes to the Ministry of Mining. What are we doing about it? Because if we do not channel this towards a particular processing, perhaps at least primary processing within country, people find a way of smuggling these stones. So with gold, you know that people have an option of selling the gold to the Reserve Bank of Malawi. But do we have a local entity, off-taker of these galena stones? Because if we're going to prohibit export of raw materials, then we have to provide that channel to provide the raw, the processing of the primary processing of the stones. The committee has come up with a lot of excellent recommendations. I don't know the ministry whether it has now, it has perhaps a matrix where they have laid out all these recommendations, how they're going to be addressed, the timelines or the financial requirements, because that, if that was provided, all stakeholders get hold of that matrix, it would help for all of us to ensure that we move in the, otherwise there will be recommendations and recommendations and recommendations and nothing will happen. There is a lack of capacity in the Ministry of Mining, and in as far as mining is concerned, it's not a short-term thing. It is long term, because you need to have the technocrats trained. Is there any plan? When do we start? Because out there, Malawians are expecting mining to be that panacea to address the economic woes that we have. Unless it begins to start to tick, there will be nothing that's going to happen. So there has to be a plan from the mining. This is a noble job that you are doing, but there's more that needs to be done in order for the country to generate benefits for the economy. And then, is there any need to have any legislative amendment, or are you developing a bill of some sort that can help address the gaps and recommendations that have been made? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. First and foremost, I would like to join my colleagues in commending the job well done by the task force and also the Ministry of Energy. But through you, Honorable Chair, my question, the main emphasis on what measures have been put in place to ensure that these illegal miners do not return back to these mines as we wait on the recommendations that have been put in place. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Lualadzi. So now let me ask you the PS and the team now to respond to the the questions from the four constituencies. Then after that, we also come with another set. Thank you, PS.
Thank you, Chair, and the whole committee. You are right that the task force has made a number of observations and recommendations. Maybe on the why financier is not there, maybe the committee, the task force may come in on that one. And on, a question from Data Punzi, the issue was on whether indeed the gold brought by the Reserve Bank is from the illegal or legal miners. The fact at hand is that these are from artisanal miners, and maybe the Director of Mines will shed more light on that one. On Namizinga, Namizim, sorry. My sight is going. Namizim Forest in Mangochi. I think the premise of this task force was to first see these seven hotspots. And maybe you have also heard that because of the information on the Galena stone, the seventh one was added. So, in essence, maybe I can also answer the question from Lilongwe Ngwenya to say, yes, we know about Namizimu forest, but the task force was conducting the pilot phase, and the plans are that we are to roll out this to other areas within the country. So that is what I want to say. On Lilongwe Ngwenya, Mzimba North. Mzimba North, I think I've done part of it. But on Lilongwe Ngwenya, the second part of it, on Garena, I think, the question, it was coming from Lilongwe Ngwenya, isn't it? Yeah. So this is in Imbera, Doha. Equally, I think I heard it when the report from the task force came to my desk, despite that, the fact that I'm relatively new in the ministry, but I got it from there, and I was excited because the amount mentioned in the report is substantial, and possibly even the deposits in the country must be very high. But on this one, in terms of the off-takers, I'm not sure, so Director of Mines will shed more light on that one. I would like to say that we are part of the task force. We have just concluded the report writing on this particular job, and we are privileged today that we are even briefing you, the committee chair. That is a positive side on our side. Capacity building. Yes, capacity building, I think, is in two phases. One is the numbers, which, as we said, that we have had some difficulties, as the task force has noted. But on the actual training, some staff get training from Zomba, that is University of Malawi. And of course, we have had training from other institutions in the sector. But I think, as I said, we are to be given the detailed report from the Director of Mining on this one. Legislative amendments, yes, we have, as of now, 3. That is from Lilongwe Ngwenya. We have got 3 legislations. We have got Mines and Mineral Act as a main one. We have got Petroleum Exploration and Production Act, and we have got the Explosives Act. I think these acts are short of details as regards the findings of this particular task force. And we have gone ahead to say we should review these acts. We have also some policies which talk to the same issues to develop the sector and promote the mining in the country. I think those policies as well, we are to review them, because if you, Chair, remember, the developments or the discoveries of these minerals have come into our stream a bit late, some of them like gold and other things. We were not sure of what we had that time when maybe these legislations were being promulgated. So we are to take these seriously into consideration to make sure that they address the problems we are facing now. Through you, Chair, Honorable Chair, may I ask the Director of Mining to shed more light where I have failed to do that. Chair, thank you. Director?
Honorable Chair and honorable committee members, through my peers, I would like to express my gratitude and appreciation for the opportunity to add my voice on the submission that has been made by the Secretary for Mining. Perhaps to begin with, I needed to emphatically indicate that as a Department of Mines, we are there to promote sustainable mining in the country, and that is to ensure that that is economically viable, environmentally friendly, and socially acceptable. Additionally, we are there working with relevant stakeholders, as we have done under this Operation Samarankoti. We are there to ensure that there is orderliness in the sector, ensuring that there is no anarchy, there is no disorder, there is no chaotic decomposition in the mining sector in the country. That's the sole reason why we have been working hand in hand with our security agencies to ensure that we bring that orderliness, that much needed orderliness in the sector. Now, turning to, I think, the questions that have been raised by the honorable members, the pertinent questions. And I think the first one was to do with, I think, gold buying and selling by the Reserve Bank of Malawi. I think the question was, is the Reserve Bank buying gold from licensed or unlicensed? I would say that I think the Reserve Bank is buying gold from licensed operators. You will recall, honorable members, that I think the ministry, through the department and relevant stakeholders, we have been moving around to mobilize the artisanal and small-scale mining groups into mining cooperatives. And I know that I think it's almost, it's an undeniable fact that informal gold extraction in hotspot areas is happening across the country.
Point of order, sorry, I should intervene. Though I'm chair, I'm a vigilant chair because I'm aware of what happens in this ministry. Because I've also read it one time, you are lying. You're not saying the truth. It's not all the time that the Reserve Bank buys gold from the licensed operators, no. Because when they go there, they don't ask for the license. So, yeah, that one, yeah, you may proceed. But let me just say this, PS mining. All these issues are culminating into your ministry. All these issues are coming into because of the failures of your ministry. You have come, you are just a new PS. I know members are still have got so many questions to ask you. They'll be coming to you. But as a new PS, you have got too much work to do. If I'm going to say, don't rely upon these old members that are found. You know the reason? They have been coming here all the time. They have been saying the same things, which they are repeating now. But yet the problems don't end. The issue of forming cooperatives, when it started long time ago. I don't know if today, PS, you may tell us how many cooperatives on mining have we so far formed and registered, and they are operational. When you tell us that, no, we were forming cooperatives, how many have we formed and registered so far? So I should not ask so many questions. Members, let's go to another phase if we still have got more questions.
My question was not answered.
Okay. The question for Mzimba North.
Referred to the director, and I think he began. Perhaps he can now tackle her question and then tackle mine. If you could just give him some space.
Yes, Director, the questions from Mzimba North and also Lilongwe Ngwenya. If you may remember. If you don't remember, can they repeat?
Chair, I do remember. Just a slight concern from my part, from you, Honorable Chair. You have said you are lying. I think, Honorable Chair, I know that perhaps...
Sorry, I will withdraw.
Thank you, Chair. I think just a little clarification there again, Chair, to say that I think it was incumbent upon the government to actually establish a structured market for gold, not only for gold but even gemstones. So ideally, it was to function following, I think, the laws of the land, and we have the Mines and Minerals Act that guide, I think, the buying and even selling of gold. We have a reserved minerals license, small-scale mining licenses. So the ministry, it's a mandate of the ministry to issue such kind of licenses, and that Reserve Bank of Malawi should operate under this legal framework. So I think what we gave them is an obligation to ensure that even the Reserve Bank of Malawi should operate within the laws of Malawi. So what I was reporting was that I think the Reserve Bank of Malawi is mandated to buy gold from licensed miners. That's the whole point I was explaining these things, Honorable Chair. I think there was a question also on why Namizimu forest was left out. I think that one will perhaps be a question that will be tackled by, I think, the joint force team. But suffice to say that I think this was, as indicated by the PS, this was the pilot phase, which was supposed to guide the execution of the full operation. Having said that, Honorable Chair, perhaps I think on that one, as I indicated, I think the joint task force chair will.
Maybe, Chair, just a reminder to the Director, because Mzimba North talked about why did we, or maybe the task forces to take that on why financiers were not apprehended. I think that is also another thing which possibly is to be answered. But on the Garena, I think Lilongwe Ngwenya, Honorable MP, asked about other off-takers of maybe Garena. If we do have any off-taker of Garena stones in Malawi, maybe that is what I wanted maybe to...
Can I just clarify what I said?
Yeah, sure.
I said this is the first time I get to hear about this one. And I think government is trying to safeguard the resources that we have. Now, we're preventing smuggling of raw minerals. I think the preferred mode is to have some primary processing before they're exported. Now, in as far as this Garena stone is concerned, is there anything we're doing? Because if we are going to prevent the export of the Garena stone and preferring for it to be processed locally, what are we doing to facilitate for that local processing? I think that was the question I asked.
Honorable Chair, through, I think, PS for mining, I think that one is a pertinent question. Actually, it borders also on the presidential executive order that was issued. I think the issue of providing perhaps the local market as well as mineral value addition facilities to enhance, I think, the value are critically important. At how best to actually provide support in establishing mineral value addition facilities in the country. And I think discussions have been underway. I think the PS will perhaps touch on that. We are discussing with development partners to see how we can best support in terms of putting up mineral value addition facilities in the country, perhaps one in the north, one in the center, and one in the south for access by our artisanal and small scale miners, so that they add value to their minerals and ensure that they get maximum economic benefits from the minerals that they extract. I think I need to indicate also that we are also thinking of perhaps coming up with mineral trading centers where I think the government could play an important role. To invite, I think, the buyers to come and interface with our artisanal small-scale miners. Only, I think, the value-added minerals that they have produced, so that I think the issue of market to the artisanal small-scale miners should be history. I think those are, I think, the mechanisms that we are pursuing as a ministry. Maybe the PSC would also touch on that.
Yes. Yeah.
Through you, Chair, and through my PS, I would love to come in perhaps on one or two questions. Some of them have already been tackled by my colleagues in the ministry. But I think there's a question from Horakota Lualas that seeks to understand the measures being taken so that the miners don't retain. First of all, I would like to emphasize that even within the ministry, we feel uncomfortable to call them illegal miners. As much as they are I think the preferred word would be unregulated, because they are not under regulations yet. The whole purpose of the operation was not to take away their livelihood, because we understand that this is their livelihood, but to ensure that they are operating under regulations, because mining is a highly regulated industry, environmentally, socially, legally. So there are several measures that the ministry is undertaking. One of them is the formalization of the cooperatives. You have emphasized on that one, Chair. I can assure you that that exercise is happening now. We have worked hand in hand with the Ministry of Trade, the Malawi Environmental Protection Authority, and the other relevant stakeholders, including MAMICO, to make sure that these miners are formalized into cooperatives, and at the end of each training, they are being issued with cooperative licenses. What is remaining now is for the regulator, MMRA, to issue them with licenses. The whole reason is to make sure that they are connected to the formal market, which is MAMICO. I'm sure we have a colleague here from MAMICO that will shed more light on that. We are planning, we are working closely with MAMICO and commercial banks to make sure that we establish gold trading centers. All these measures are being put to make sure that these unregulated miners are connected to the formal market, because the ones that we consider illegal are the the middlemen, because these are the ones that are smuggling our national resource. There's also a question from Lilongo Ngwenya pertaining the plans on expertise. This is an area that we are also looking into seriously. We are currently doing a staff analysis within the ministry in the Department of Human Resource to make sure that we define which are the critical areas or critical staff needs that need to be urgently looked into. But apart from that, there is also an ongoing exercise with the Ministry of Local Government where the Ministry of Mining would devolve some of its functions to the local government, whereby the Ministry of Local Government will now be responsible for district mining officers. Apart from that, you may wish to note, Honorable Chair, that the Ministry is closely working with the universities to develop courses or programs, degree programs, because we recognize that we need expertise now, especially in the sectors of mining law, mining economics, and mining engineering. So we are working closely with universities to develop curriculums for this. I thought I should come in just to address these questions. Let me put it back to PS. Perhaps there is more from the other colleagues. Thank you very much, Chair.
Maybe through you, Chair, we may hear from somebody from MAMICO because it's represented here.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just to echo the Director of Administration, yes, following the operation, together with the Ministry of Mining and Trade, MAMICO supported operations to for the formalization in the areas that Samala Kodi went to conduct the operation. So we managed to also go beyond the areas that we visited to also establish rapport to see who is on the ground, and the areas that these activities have started was in Zimba, Kasungu, Dwanga, Lilongwe, Machinga, and Mangochi. So once trade has finalized setting up these structures together with communities, then those registrations will go to the authority for granting of their licenses. MAMICO's role here is that when we are buying the gold, and also just to fulfill due diligence of traceability, all the gold that is being supplied, we must know where it's coming from. So we have started supporting this work of formalization. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chair, I just wanted to say that is what we had to say on these issues. Maybe we may be waiting for other questions in the room.
Do we have additional questions? Yeah, let me take. Oh yeah, she's reminding me from Zimba North, why targeting only the laborers, the ground operators, and not targeting the financiers? There was that question from Zimba North. Yes.
Chair, let me take that question. As I think the presentation was being presented, Chair, you realize that the first, what happened was with the announcement, the public announcement that we, as the task force, we are going to happen this, to go into this mission. We realize with that task force, that announcement going public, we realize that the financiers would definitely would not be on the ground because they knew that would be going. However, we were acting in a way of behaving as a deterrent to say this is the direction that we are going to go and this is exactly what we are going to do as a government. So we did not target specifically the low-level operators. As you realize, we even caught the Chinese nationals. These are not low-level. These are the ones that had the truck there ready to export the 17,000 metric tons. So that's not a low level per se. Even the Mozambicans, you would see that that one brings on the international operation of the whole scheme that is going on into the country. But we expected that when we go after the announcement, which was kind of a requirement to do, we knew that we would expect such things. However, as you might also appreciate in the presentation, Chair, we are also aware about other specific, because we have gone into information extraction with the people that we apprehended. So were there others that are specific that we might say, there was a mention of Mr. Jerry here, that we know that Mr. Jerry was operating ABCD. What we need to do, as I think the system would have to identify whether it was a legal or an illegal operator in that setup and move forward. And there are others more that are in the pipeline based on prosecution process that would entail. Suffice to say, Chair, that this operation also made us identify a few gaps in the process. Like the joint task force was more or less on a military, I would say, kind of military operational setup. But you realize that then, after that, we realized that we needed the Attorney General and the Director of Public Prosecution as well to come on board to be ready. And I think the other identified gaps that I think they have been mentioned here are the gaps about the financing and whatever. When using the intel, I think the other question was why only these 7 specific spots. It was based on the intel that we got using the intelligence system because we are doing a pilot phase. Now, at the moment, the steering committee has received the report, the same report that you, Chair, have received now, and we get to set up a ministerial committee, which we have to explain, and together with the budget as well, so that the way forward can be identified. And in those, with the recommendations that also have come through the same report, we realize that the gaps like the treasury and whatever, they have to be involved because even the amount of resources that were spent on these ones cannot be borne by one entity because they don't have that in their budget. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, PS Defense. So I think now we're going to take the very last round.
No, just supplementary.
Supplementary. So we'll take that supplementary, then we'll ask the question, take the question from Mangojina Mizimu. Is that Maganjira? That's Rumbi West. Then Maganjira. Then I think it's also a supplementary. And then, yes, we'll come the way from, again, Zimba North, and then we come to Nchisi, Central East.
Chair, I just wanted to clarify on my question, which has been dodged so many times. I wonder why, because my question was, I'm not the one who said you arrested low-level operators. It was presented. And he said it was actually deliberate. In his presentation, he mentioned that. But then I further ask, I say, from those that you've arrested, have you managed, at least since you started the operation, to find out who are the big financiers?
Honorable Chair, yes, of course, through the investigations, we managed to identify some big fish in the industry. One of them is the Chinese guy, Tijan.
understand is in Hong Kong. So by arresting these seemingly low-level offenders, it's a gateway somehow to make us arrest the big fish. And it was mentioned in the presentation that there were limitations of time on intelligence. So it was difficult for that, for the Joint Task Force to identify these big fishes. But through investigations, I know we're going to arrest more big fish. Thank you very much. Chair. Yeah.
Yes, Chair, through you, you want to support the Deputy Task Force Commander to say that this one, the engagement was initially just based on the pilot launch to test the waters because we're going into a national rollout. So what the Secretary of Defense has put on the table is that strategic alignment. But I'll tackle it on the operational and tactical level, whereby we were discussing this in our boardroom, in our operations center. First, we discussed about the evidence threshold, if we were going to extend and go forward and go for the big fish. On evidence threshold, first one is on irregular miners, engaging directly with the low-level miners was very easy because they were on the site throughout, whereby it is not easy to go for the big fish because, you know, by the end of the day, we want to go for prosecution. Now you need the hard evidence. Now, in between the irregular miners to the big fish, there is a long chain. Okay, so to break that one, you really need the thorough planning. We've managed that one by supporting this, Mr. Jack, the Chinese. We took him to court. Mr. Jerry, as soon as it was announced that we are going for the irregular miners, he escaped to Zambia. And he challenged that once our operation is over, he's going to buy a new machine and go on the site. We are aware about that. Now, the second one is a complex network. On complex network, I'm also going to talk about there is involvement of brokers, transporters, buyers, smugglers that at that time were outside our scope. Okay? The initial operational launch for the pilot was to disrupt and make a statement. Then on that one, it's spiced by our operational priorities. Did we prioritize engaging the big fish? At that level, no. We were only going to go for the big fish as low-hanging level fruits if advantage was on our side. But not necessarily saying, let's now, because it was going to take long, we were also going to be in court for a long time. But for now, we were satisfied that the pilot launch engaged those on the ground. That's why we are classifying them as low-level artisan miners. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So can I start now with the Rumpi West, then Mangoji, then we'll come to Ngwenya. I think that will be the last one, and Chiso. Yeah. So that will be the last phase.
Thank you, Chair. I've got 51 questions. I'm just joking. I'll go straight to my questions. One, Parliament is meeting in July. What do you want this committee to support you as a task force, as an urgent attention, redress to the gaps that you have highlighted in your report? Secondly, whether you, in your requirements, you looked for communication gadgets, whether you may include drones, because this time now it's very easy to track illegal activities using technology than physical, of which you may reduce even the cost of fightbacks from the communities who are resistant to what you are doing. Thirdly, Chair, whether this task force would allow this committee to go and appreciate what they confiscated, where they are housing,
because they've mentioned in the report that they are worried that long custody of the items may contribute to corruption, even within where it is kept. Some people may do other things. So we have to, when we are presenting a report in Parliament, we have to, if there will be need for a proper custody of the items requiring monies as an agent redress to the challenges. So I was requesting if we may have an opportunity to see the gold. We don't know the gold. We don't know even the mineral that they are found in Dowa. Thirdly, how much as a ministry do you have the quantification of the minerals that is found in Dowa? And what are you planning to do? Because it shows it's only these illegal, or you call it undocumented miners, are taking advantage of. Lastly, the ministry, you have not given the time frame, or the task force, you have not given us the time frame when you want to address the gaps that you found. What should Malawians expect from the task force as a result of what you did? I just paused. It shows there is a conflict between the ministry and the task force. The task force confiscated most of the items from illegal miners, and the ministry says, no, these are not illegal miners. Yet we heard that the president has suspended all license. Is it not the president, but the ministry has suspended all licenses? It means there is no one who is holding a license. That is mining, including exportation of the minerals. Is there a silent restoration of the suspension? Thank you.
Just Honorable PS, can we come to who is next? Is Mangochi Maganjira? Then let's do Lilongwenya.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing people of Mangochi North constituency. Mine is just a question. I have two questions, actually. I heard that some illegal miners they're using explosives. So my question is going to MDF. How is MDF coordinating Malawi police and the government agencies to protect communities from illegal miners who are using explosives? And I also heard about procurement of 50 encrypted crossband radios. I wonder, the whole MDF, you mean you don't have these radios, or you want just to add? Because if we hear that the MDF doesn't have these radios, then I think that is what. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, we are meeting this team today because it's a special task force that was created by government. It is one of the efforts by government to ensure to safeguard our mineral resources. It is not the whole, this is not the only effort by government. I'm sure there's other efforts. This is to ensure that, to bring order to the mining industry. Now, once they have done their work, they present it to the relevant ministries. And what this committee is looking at is the bigger picture. Because when we met with the same committee, I think earlier this year, the Minister of Mining, some of the issues that have been raised in the recommendations were raised at that time. And one would think that even before this task force came into effect, those ones would have started to find solutions for those ones. So, but what I want to say, even the sentiments that we raised at that time, that the ministry operates like they're in the 80s, when we thought we had no minerals. The Ministry of Mining has to operate with agency, with some entrepreneur or business agency, because we're going through like the small, but we have so many minerals in this country, and we do not get that satisfaction, that assurance that we're going to move anytime soon. The way there is explanations, we're not in an agent mode to make sure that we realize yields, dividends from our mining industry. This task force, I think it was specifically to target gold miners, I think, in my view. These other, the Garenas, Zangogweramo Panova, Tapezika Kuti, Zakapezika. I think initially it was for gold. Can we do more? Is there any way we can do more? Listija comes up with so many minerals in Malawi, but we don't seem to have an agent to exploit those ones. When will we start to have that drive to make sure that we realize? Because going forward, if we do not address the issue of mining, and that we feel we have to leapfrog to the future. Zambia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, can we learn from our colleagues in the neighborhood? And I'm not hearing that about benchmarking, what our friends doing. Yes, there's MAMICO, there's the authority, but what are we doing to benchmark? Chair, that is my last word for today. Thank you.
That is more and very important. So let me, lastly, 1 minute give to Nchisi South.
Thank you so much, Chair. I would like to know what kind of political interferences do you face during your work? I'm asking this question because my little knowledge or understanding is that some of us politicians are also into these businesses. I know you can't tell it, but what kind of political interferences are you facing? My second question is, you are now waiting for more resources. What if the resources won't be available? What's your next steps? Because out there, gold is still missing. The local people in the country have stopped farming. Now they are into this business. What would be your next steps if the financial resources will not be available? Thank you.
Very much, GC South. So on our PSS and the team, now we don't have time. So we'll give 10 minutes for the response of these questions. Then we should finalize the meeting. So over to you, PS.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I will take the last two questions from Chisi, but I think my colleagues will handle the maybe in terms of course, the questions from Rumpi as well. I might be able to respond to that one. In terms of the last two questions from Chisi, on this one, because it was an operation that I think it was enacted in a pilot phase, so far there was no political interference. I think so far this one went on smoothly. We didn't expect anybody, nobody came forward. Maybe it's because maybe we had given an advance notice and I think they were aware or whatever. But so far, if we say it continues to go on like that, then we should be able to have a safer and a better Malawi in the next future when they roll out. In terms of the next steps, whether resources are available or not, we'll have to make the resources available, because I think the idea is if we safeguard our minerals and those minerals are regulated, then the resources that can be spent now can be recovered in the shortest period of time. So as I said earlier on, we realized a few gaps in terms of the means of the treasury itself. They were not involved in this joint task force. Now, as we are going to go to route, these are some of the MDAs that we are going to involve and get them on board so that we are all together within one entity. I think that's as far as Chi's questions were concerned. In relation to the questions from Rompi, in terms of resource mobilization and the drones inclusion, that's very true. Technology nowadays is everything. Able to do everything. I mean, that includes a lot more. Even just the search and the rescue issues are also doing that. I think that will be considered in the next phase, which is the nationwide phase, the pilot tool that we are going to do. But since this one, we had specific areas that we needed to go and do, and through the intel, it was easier for us to concentrate on the 7 areas and do our operation properly. I'll ask I think the David Task Force operational commander since he's the custodian of the confiscated items, whether he can allow you to go. But I don't think there are some of them are a bit scattered, but I think he will be able to highlight more on that one. In terms of quantification of our minerals, I think the ministry also should be able to come up, because as I said, as I think as alluded to, even through the representative from Gwenya, it's a new mineral that people started wondering what is happening here. So I think they'll have to go back to the drawing board. In terms of timelines, in order to close these gaps, as a task force, I think our initial operation we have managed to do. We are going to present to the government through the system that had set us up, and we are also asking for a budget to do a rollout into the national phase. But we know this is it's at the heart of the presidential directive as well. So we hope that the timelines should be the turnaround should be as quick as possible, so that we can go back and formalize. Meanwhile, I think it will be a multi-sectoral approach, in the sense that the ministry, like the Ministry of Mining, will have to do the legal mobilization and the mobilization of the local communities. While they're doing all the other activities that they're supposed to do, we are also going to continue with our deterrent motive and deterrent approach in order to deter those who would be stealing our minerals while we are doing the best. Thank you very much, but I will hand over to my colleague to answer the others.
Honorable Chair, I think mine are in a specific area. Maybe on quantification, I also ask the Director of Mines, but I want us to know that Minister of Mining is part of the task force. So yes, we can be saying that maybe there's a conflict, but otherwise we are working together, and whatever is in the report, even the Minister of Mining is owning that, because we are part and parcel of that task force, as well as the steering committee. I want also to thank honorable member from Lilongwe Ngwenya that I think we need speed. I think that is noted, and make sure that that should be expedited. Otherwise, developments are fast happening, and we cannot maybe contain them if we don't do as need arises. But on Ngwenya, Lilongwe Ngwenya, Honorable MP also touched on the need to do more in this area. Definitely, we are learning from other countries. I understand we had a delegation to Zimbabwe to learn as to what they are doing there. And we had also delegation to Ghana as for us to find more in terms of the mining or mining sector. So I think it's noted with some concerns that I think there was that understanding, but we need to have these legislative reviews so that all these things should be addressed legally. I think, let me, through you, Honorable Chair, ask the Director of Mines if at all he has got something on the quantification of Garena and maybe the plan of some sort.
Honorable Chair, through PS, in terms of quantification of, I think the Garena, I think in the areas where I think the mineral is being extracted, I think there is an ongoing exploration program by Geological Survey. Perhaps my colleague, the Chief Geologist from Geological Survey, would actually shed more light on that. But Honorable Chair, allow me also to touch on, I think, the issue that was raised by, I think, honorable member from, is it Lilongwe Ngwenya? I think it's quite, no, from Lilongwe Ngwenya. I think only what we are doing to ensure that we are bringing, I think, some revolutionary, I mean, some revolution within in the manner we govern the mining sector in the country, because it's like perhaps we are really hanging our hands in limbo, waiting for solutions from elsewhere. No, I think on that one, I think really as a ministry, we are working assiduously to make sure that we are in tune with, I think, the current developments, regional and at regional and international level. What the PSC also mentioned was actually something that we are doing. I mean, reviewing the policies and the legislative framework. Our talk of, I think we are now almost at 90% completion in the development of the artisanal and small-scale mining policy. We are also finalizing the review of, I think, the Explosives Act. Almost also at 85 to 90%, and these bills will be brought to the attention through, I think, management in the ministry of this honourable committee for further guidance before perhaps submitting, I think, to the August House for further review and the consideration for approval. Not only that, but we are also moving with technology. I think we have also in the ministry some drones to actually strengthen, I think, the surveillance programs, I think, in the sector. Perhaps what we would say is that we need, I think, more support to acquire more drones. with higher range, because the drone that we have cover 5 kilometer range. So these are some of the issues that we are trying to actually pursue or adopt to make sure that we bring, I think, sanity, good governance and management of our sector in the country. Not to talk about, I think, the issues of capacity building, which is ongoing. We are putting up, strengthening, I think, our institutions by putting up laboratories to support mineral processing, to support mining and environmental monitoring. These are some of the issues that we are doing, and they are at an advanced stage. So we are not really perhaps idle in the sector. We are doing a lot. Perhaps we are not publicizing what we are doing a lot, I think, in the public domain. Just to mention a few of, I think, the issues that I think we are doing in the sector. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Maybe allow me to...
Maybe the official from the Geological Survey on the information whether the Galena stone, that's a first time to hear it, and the Geological Survey has no information of it anywhere else.
Thank you, Chair, and all members present. The question from the honorable member was on how much of these minerals are in Dowa. First, I have to highlight that Dowa is known for industrial minerals, not only galena, but there's also graphite and gypsum, and some pyrite, and some gemstones. So currently, the Geological Survey, through in the Ministry of Mining, is undertaking systematic evaluation of the galena to estimate its tonnage and grade. However, for the other minerals like gypsum, the initial estimates point at 6,500 tons of gypsum that were already evaluated within Lower District. So I think this is how I can respond to the question. For the galena, we are systematically undertaking survey to delineate the tonnage and the grade. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. From the response, it seems the galena still remains a new discovery. So, Minister of Mines, you still have got more work to do because I think you will be having maybe another meeting with you. But I think, did you have 1 minute or 30 seconds only?
I think 30 seconds will be enough, Honorable Chair. Thank you very much. Mine will be on the very same note. I would like to ask that I would like to hear more or more clarification when it comes to when there is a conflict of interest between maybe a branch of government, not branch of, I can say maybe where a government went into an agreement with a private company, and the company, instead of sticking to what they are supposed to do, they are involved in illegal mining. What measures is the task force taking whenever there are such cases? For example, Honorable Chair, if, for example, just for instance, if we may have an issue, maybe a park is involved in such activities, what are the measures and what is the task force doing when we have such records? I submit, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, so I don't know who's going to take it as a very, very last issue before I ask the commander of the task force to say the final remarks and what we want this committee, finally, 1 or 2 statements will be enough. And then finally the places, then I'll finish.
Chair, on that one, I think since there's an activity happening, let's consider it as whether illegal and undocumented thing, hopefully, but it will be on phase 2. Remember, Chair, we only concentrated on the 7 areas, and all the other areas nationwide will come in the second phase. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps before I say my last words, maybe let me just address the concerns from the Member of Parliament from Nchisi. Don't know which constituency. He was concerned about the radios, about what is it, the MDF and MPS. Maybe we need to understand that we're operating here as a joint task force. So as joint task force, if we bring in the radio, say from where, from MDF and MPS, they are totally different. We cannot communicate. That's why maybe there's that requirement that we need specific radios. For what? For the task force. It doesn't mean that the MDF has no radios. MDF has enough radios, and even MPS they have got radios. But only for the sake of for us to operate together. We faced challenges. Actually, we are relying on our cell phones. For us to communicate amongst the task force members. And you can agree with me. Some of the places the network is not there. You will not be able to communicate. So we take it. Okay, maybe we should understand it. In that way. There's another issue, I have to address about the use of explosives. The miners, most of them, they use explosives, but maybe it's in controlled way. It has to be controlled. And on our part, we are always there to provide expertise in terms of if there's a problem that the explosives are in the wrong hands. There is us and the MPS to take care of of that area. So be assured that about explosives, that one will be taken care of. I hope I have addressed some of the pertinent issues. Otherwise, for the last words, I will still go back to my closing remarks. During the presentation, if you can address the concerns who have submitted here. That would help us. As we are there, to provide the environment, so that the rest of of the group. When I'm saying us, I'm talking about in the task force. We've got the security people. That's our focus. As we are only focused on the security. We'll provide that security environment so that the rest they can work in a secure environment. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Commander of the Joint Task Force. Can we have the final remarks from PS Ministry, the major stakeholders?
Thank you, Chair. I think on my side is like Thanksgiving, because a lot have been revealed in the report of the task force. And of course, we are part of it, and the recommendations made and the contributions which the committee has made, definitely I will be taking care of those. Where I will have some problems, maybe I can also lean on your committee for assistance, but I promise that we are to do something on this. But maybe before I hand over to you, Chair, I've got this opportunity to explain that the conflict which said about the conflict, that we agree on one thing, and he goes out to do the other. I think that one, in terms of Mines and Minerals Act, is very clear. We can withdraw or cancel the certificate. But maybe the problem can be that that is happening somewhere without us knowing what is happening. So, Honorable, be assured that if that happens and we know it, definitely we are going to act swiftly on that. Through you, Chair, I would like to thank you very much for your time and, of course, for your propositions, because they have been very constructive, and I think we will continue interacting on these issues. Through my chair, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. PS mining. Now we come to the PS defense. PS defense, when you be asking, doing your final remarks, can you also take the issue that the committee is very, very interested to go and view the confiscated items? Where are they and where they are being kept? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I've just been assured that there's no problem. When you are ready, you tell us. Mind you, we don't have resources, so you need to... Chair, I'm being honest. I'm being honest, Chair. You need to mobilize yourselves for the resources, but obviously we are more than willing to accommodate you so that you can see what we are losing as a country. With that, Chair, I want to appreciate your concern, and it shows an element of patriotism on behalf of this House to call us and to hear what has happened. We want to appreciate that, and we hope that you will be our supporters in this House when it comes to safeguarding these minerals that we have. And Chair, as you also appreciate with your committee, that's the only thing that we are left with for us to turn around this country. So we appreciate that, and thank you a lot for your concern. But we are here, and we are going to ensure that, given the required resources, we execute and provide you with a good service. Thank you.
Thank you so much, PS Defense. Honourable members, as we come to the end of the meeting, and also the officials from all the stakeholders, I wish to thank you so much, honourable members, for the active participation, for the unity, and also for the proper understanding. And also, let me thank you, Honourable PS Defense, Honourable PS Mining, and also Commander of the Joint Task Force and the whole team. Some of the questions were indeed provocative, and some comments like mine was even more provocative, but I withdraw it. So, but the issue is that the committee is on your side. Sometimes when you hear some of the comments coming from members of parliament, it's because we feel bad. We feel bad of what is happening. And we feel bad because we feel sometimes ministries are negligent. So that's why you see sometimes members fume, but it's not deliberate. So we want to say that you want to thank you, the Joint Task Force, for the wonderful job so far that you have started on. And we believe that you go further. The committee will take your request, specifically on the issue of funding, and we will go to the relevant authorities. That funding should be found, so that the exercise that you have studied should go ahead and be completed. But also the question from the Longwengwenya, that this probably should not be just be an ad hoc joint task force. We wish it should always ongoing, time to time, so that the problems that the mining sector is meeting can one by one be eliminated, and indeed compel the mining, the Minister of Mining to come out with the legislated cooperatives as they are required, and also control the issues of the sale of the mines. And so we wish to also to thank you once again, and also the commitment of the committee that we will all be on your side. Honored also to start the minister, the PS Minister of Mining, we are also new. We will be requiring you to appear before the committee with all your agents. And are you here when I say your agents? Because all these things I say, they're coming to you. And it's your ministry. Now, as you can see, which is almost a problem. The director of mining has said that now, if there's a revolution, we hope that revolution is genuine. But we believe that some of the agents also that you have put, the leadership that you have put it there, is not forthcoming for what you want. So we'll be coming to you for another meeting again, just for the minister and agents, not for the task force, but especially for the ministry, so that we should discuss over these issues. Otherwise, I want to thank you so much, and I wish you good luck. The meeting is closed. Thank you. Yeah, so ngaketa mbana kuma abobo paluchen. But it is the refreshment there. So